Hi again. Um, this is just kind of on kind of maybe of a part two of what I had just posted concerning the waterborne issues that could be with Countess of Chester. Um, a lot of disease, a lot of diseases have their basis in water. Okay. And first of all, those of you in the United Kingdom, I think it's absolutely imperative that they do not, before they tear down that women and children's building, which I understand is supposed to go up for demolition in March. And this is not my idea. I am stealing this from someone, but I'm just trying to pass this on. It is imperative that there are certain forensic microbiological tests that need to be done at that building before it is demolished. Otherwise, the NHS is going to be able to take away any and all forensic evidence, evidence that could definitely exonerate Lucy. The system could have been, we know it had Pseudomonas in it. It also could have been infected by something called Legionella, Legionnaire's disease, okay? A lot of other, Klebsiella, a lot of stuff that is sewage and water-based is causes diseases. Now, my understanding is that I've just looked into this, is that in 2015 there was quite a lot of rainfall, especially kind of in the northern part of England. It was much heavier than it was in previous years. I think it might have been one of these record eras. So all this rainfall is coming down, the water table is going up. I do. It looks like also there was a lot of, a lot of infant deaths around there. There was a lot of maternity scandals. I know there was a lot of maternity scandals prior to this, but what what were the fetal deaths and the deaths in general going on around this time, 2015, 2016, during a lot of the rainy season era too. Again, a lot of your buildings, a lot of hospital buildings, and a lot of hospital buildings here in America too are antiquated. A lot of our air conditioning, and a lot of buildings have a lot of air conditioning on the roofs. A lot of a lot of stuff that is on flat roofs, and a lot of stuff, all that stuff is on top. Well, they were able to prove back in the 1970s to be very careful and cautious with that because birds carry a lot of disease, and what happened with the Legionnaire's disease is that bird droppings, bird poo was getting into the it was getting into the air conditioning system again, and then it became what we would call airborne. And again, please, whatever you all can do, some sort of a campaign that building has got to be forensically investigated. The duct system, the ventilation system, the air conditioning, heating, all those ducts, all that sewage, sewer, all that has got to be done. Now, historically, it's always worked. I'm going to take you back from history to someone called John Snow. I think I've already put history of him in previous videos, but basically, he is one of the godfathers of micro epidemiological studies, microbiology, what is in the environment that's going to kill you. He's the famous guy that basically had them remove the handle of a certain water pump that was in London. This water, whatever that water system was, it contained cholera, and that's why there was a horrendous cholera epidemic during that time. Just by removing that handle, people couldn't use that water pump that was contaminated by cholera, and that stopped it. Again, the man by the name of John Snow, Florence Nightingale, through many of her statistical diagrams, was able to prove that basically you clean up the place, you're going to live. How she kind of developed this whole theory in that, and she was able to prove, was the Crimean War. She was running the hospital in Skaturia. Basically, she wrote to the sanitation commission, not only to those gentlemen, because she was friends with them. She was part of the establishment, so she could get stuff done, but she wrote to their wives too. And she had them and said, basically, get your butt over here. They removed a dead horse from the water cistern where they got their water supply. In addition to removing that dead horse, they also had them remove, there was like several inches of literally caked poo in the hallway area where everyone would have to go in order to go to the latrine. Once they did that and cleaned that up, that's when the soldiers started to live. She was also able to prove through later on through making sure that they keep the barracks clean for army guys, that these young, healthy, strapping men would survive and be in the army. She devised hospitals, and she made sure that basically whatever that part of the building that held the wards, the patient wards, was here. And then she made sure wherever the sewage was in kind of a different department. She was also big into making sure, if you see all the old pictures, there was always transoms that were open in a lot of air circulation. Again, Legionella disease, the bacteria got into the duct system and people breathed it in. So she always made sure there was a lot of air circulation going on. Also, she was big into making sure sun came in, a lot of sunshine. UV rays are one of the best known killers of pathogens. Sunlight. And also it produces vitamin D too. So again, things we've all known. We have, since I guess modern architecture has hermetically sealed everything. Again, we have too many flat roofs and too much of our systems are on the rooftop. Now, here in America, we have to go. Hospitals are required to maintain certain maintenance records, engineering records. They have to prove when we get inspected. Not only do the doctors and nurses and pharmacy, they come by and kind of inspect our policy and procedures and make sure that we're up to date. At that same time, they run engineering inspections too. They not only do they bring doctors and nurses in when we get our periodic inspections, they bring in engineers. And we do know, and again, thank you, Tracy Herford Crew, for sending me all this information that I'm able to get it out. This is not coming from me. This is coming from people, again, that have sent it to me. You know, a combination of a lot of a bad rainy season, the water table has gone up. Your hospital systems, again, the hospitals are hermetically sealed. A lot of your cooling and air conditioning and all this engineering stuff is on the rooftop. Birds can poop into that and get certain pathogens into that. The water table is rising up, and that's, again, Pseudomonas and Stenotrophes multifila loves water systems. Again, the NHS has got to go through a period of, they got to go back to John Snow and Florence Nightingale. It's in the environment, stupid. Again, but if I am concerned if they demolish that building that housed that is containing forensic evidence that can completely exonerate Lucy. You know, a combination of just bad environment that promotes pathogens, and you got non-caring consultants who want to, who don't give a shit. You got bird shit, Pseudomonas shit, Klebsiella shit, and consultants that don't give a shit. You're going to have a nurse that's going to spend the rest of her life in prison. So, and I don't mean to pound on my chest and say in America we're better. And the reason we do this is because we got nasty lawyers, guys. Okay, could make Nick Johnson look like a Girl Scout, if you get my drift. Who want nothing better than be millionaire and billionaires that'll sue the pants off anything. So again, since all this is known, lawyers hire, again, these kind of engineer people to make sure what's going on in the building. There's been also a ton of lawsuits, not only in hospitals, but in other hospitals where people are getting sick from their building, and it's called sick building syndrome, where lawyers have been able to really get themselves quite rich over this. So just, again, good luck. I wish I could go over there and protest at the Countess of Chester and say, do not tear this building down. So this is a real call to action. Good luck. And again, thank you. And thank all of you for your comments, concerns, and your heartfelt concern for my fellow nurse, my sorority sister. You know, once a nurse, always a nurse, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world as a nurse. We're all sisters and brothers and part of it. And the fact that you all are caring, it brings joys to me. So good luck. If there's anything else I can do, I am here for you guys. Because you know why? You're here for my nurse, for my fellow nurse, from Lucy. So thank you. Bye-bye.